Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another ETS2 Storytelling episode where I will share with you a little story called The Freight to Nowhere. If you will enjoy the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe with the bell on so you don't miss any future videos. So, let's get started. If you've spent as much time on the road as I have, you start to realize that not every trip is about the destination. Sometimes, the road itself has other plans for you. I never believed in the so-called mysteries of the open highway until I found myself on a delivery that still doesn't make sense to this day. It was a chilly autumn evening when I got the call. My dispatcher, a guy named Pete, had an urgent haul for me. The job was straightforward. Pick up a sealed container from a small depot outside Rotterdam and deliver it to an address in Poznan, Poland. The pay was good, too good to refuse. The only catch? The address was vague. Just a set of coordinates and a note. Do not open the container under any circumstances. I laughed it off. Pete, you sure this isn't some kind of prank? What's in the container? Don't ask questions, Dan, Pete replied, his voice unusually serious. It's a legit job. Just get it there, on time. I didn't press him further. A paycheck was a paycheck, and I'd hauled weirder things before. Once I delivered a truckload of rubber ducks to a toy convention. How much stranger could this be? The pickup was uneventful. The depot was quiet, tucked away in an industrial park shrouded in fog. A lone worker loaded the container onto my trailer and handed me the paperwork. The container itself was unmarked, plain steel, with no identifying numbers or logos. As I pulled out of the depot, the fog seemed to thicken, clinging to the truck like a ghostly shroud. The first leg of the journey was easy. The Dutch highways were smooth, and traffic was light. I cruised along, the steady hum of the engine keeping me company. The container sat quietly behind me, an unassuming payload bound for Poland. But as I crossed into Germany, something strange started to happen. The GPS, which had been guiding me flawlessly, began to act up. It recalculated the route multiple times, sending me down side roads and detours that didn't make any sense. At first, I thought it was just a glitch, but then I noticed the road signs. They were blank. No town names, no distances, just empty green panels. I turned on the radio to distract myself, but all I got was static. No music, no news, not even the usual chatter from truckers on the CB frequency. It was as if I'd driven into a pocket of silence where the world had forgotten I existed. The only sound was the rhythmic thrum of the tires against the asphalt. As the hours passed, the sense of unease grew stronger. The roads became narrower, the landscape more desolate. Instead of towns or rest stops, I passed endless fields and forests, their silhouettes dark against the night sky. The headlights barely pierced the gloom, and the shadows seemed to shift as I drove past, like something was watching from the trees. At one point, I stopped to check the GPS manually. The coordinates for the delivery point were still there, but the route kept changing. I decided to trust my instincts and keep moving forward. After all, I'd never failed a delivery before, and I wasn't about to start now. Around midnight, I reached a stretch of road that didn't feel right. The pavement was cracked and uneven, the kind of road you'd expect in a ghost town, not a major freight route. My truck jolted with every bump, and the container rattled ominously behind me. I slowed down, my eyes scanning the dark for any sign of civilization. That's when I saw the lights. At first, I thought it was another vehicle, but as I got closer, I realized they weren't headlights. They were strange, bluish orbs floating above the road, flickering like candles in the wind. They hovered there for a moment before darting off into the forest, disappearing as quickly as they'd appeared. I pulled over, my heart pounding. What had I just seen? Fireflies? Some kind of reflection? Whatever it was, it left me shaken. I radioed Pete, hoping for some reassurance, but the line was dead. No signal, no response, just silence. Taking a deep breath, I pressed on. The road seemed endless, winding through dense woods that closed in on either side. The container and the trailer began to make strange noises, a low hum, almost like it was vibrating. I glanced in the side mirror, half expecting to see it glowing, but it looked the same as before, plain and lifeless. Hours passed, but I never seemed to get closer to my destination. The GPS insisted I was on the right track, but the coordinates felt like they were pulling me in circles. Every now and then I'd see a signpost pointing to a town, but when I followed it, the road would lead to nowhere. Just more fields, more forests. At one point, I passed an old gas station. The lights were on, but there were no cars, no people. Just a single pump and a building that looked like it hadn't been used in decades. Against my better judgment, I pulled in, hoping to get directions or at least take a break. The moment I stepped out of the truck, I felt that the air was heavy, almost suffocating. The gas station door creaked open as if inviting me in. Inside, the shelves were empty, and the cash register sat untouched, covered in dust. There was no sign of anyone, but I swear I heard whispers, faint and indistinct, coming from the back room. I didn't stick around to investigate. I jumped back into the cab and floored it, my truck roaring to life as I sped away from that eerie place. Whatever this job was, I just wanted it to be over. Finally, as the first light of dawn broke through the clouds, I reached the coordinates. It wasn't a warehouse or a depot like I'd expected. Instead, it was an open field, surrounded by mist. There was no sign of anyone waiting for the delivery, no indication that I was in the right place. I stepped out of the truck, the cold biting through my jacket, and inspected the container. It was silent now, no humming, no vibrations, just a cold, unmarked box sitting in an empty field. I called Pete, hoping he could explain what was going on. To my surprise, the call went through. "I'm here, but there's no one. No depot, no receiver. What's the deal?" There was a long pause before Pete answered. "You made it? Good. Leave the container and get out of there." "What? That's it? Who's picking it up?" "Don't ask questions, Dan. Just go." I wanted to argue, but something in Pete's voice stopped me, and Unta. I unhooked the trailer, left the container in the field, and drove away as fast as I could. As I glanced in the mirror, I thought I saw movement near the container figures emerging from the mist. But I didn't stick around to find out. To this day, I don't know who the delivery was for or what was in that container. Pete never brought it up again, and I didn't ask. But every time I drive past Rotterdam, I think about that night, and I can't help but wonder, what did I deliver, and why? Some roads take you to places you'll never forget. Others leave you with questions that will haunt you forever. This was one of those roads.
Thanks for watching. I hope you have enjoyed, and if that's so, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe with the bell on so you don't miss any future videos.
Also, consider to become a member of this channel. Join now to get access to perks and all the benefits that Level provides. Thank you and see you in the next one. Bye-bye.